We collected 6 million last year, getting 170 new patients a month. We're now booked out 6 months. So we are opening up a second location that's about 3 miles away. That's going to be 15 ops. But yeah, just crazy amount of growth. And we have most Google reviews in Cincinnati. And that has been a big part of our growth. But I know that there's some challenges when opening up a second location. And from an SEO standpoint, it's almost like a startup that you don't get to use all those Google reviews.
The biggest mistake that I see people make is that you should have one homepage that is the brand homepage, and then you need to have 2 location pages, which are separate websites with all the information about each location. And most marketing companies, especially people who don't understand dental, they'll just use your main website as your Google My Business listing. You don't want that. Welcome back to another episode of Dental Marketing Theory. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the owner of SMC National, where we help offices just like yours level the playing field against the big guys out there so you can grow the way that you want. And today I have 2 special guests, Tommy and Alex, who are the host of the Elite Dental Podcast. Today we're going to be diving deep into their practices and how they've grown a $6 million empire, and they're starting another location. And we're going to give you the exact playbook of how they're doing that from a marketing perspective, as well as Alex, who's going to be combining 2 offices right now. We're going to talk about culture as well as marketing and how that all works. And at the end, they have some discounts to some of the courses they're going to be doing if you want to learn about how to take better photography in dental, or if you want to get into full arch. These are great courses. Discount code is below. Make sure you check those out right at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for this one. All right, we are live for another episode, and thanks so much for jumping in today. We're going to do a unique episode. This is going to be a special one. I've never done this before, and so it's going to be a first time, but we got 2 legends here, Alex and Tommy. They host a podcast, and they do a great job with that, Elite Dental Podcast. You can check out all their information below, but they're not just people on the internet talking about dentistry like me. They're actually real dentists doing real things, which is awesome, and I love talking to people like that. And I want to dive into your guys' practices, because you guys actually have 2 different scenarios, and you're like knee deep in the middle of it. And I think it would resonate with a lot of the audience. And Tommy, I know you are buying, or actually starting, a new location, second location. And so that's amazing. And we're going to talk about that, the proper way to do that from a marketing perspective. And then Alex, you just merged 2 practices, and like you're literally in the middle of that right now. So,
right,
and a lot of people, how long?
3 months, yeah.
3 months. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so let's just jump into this and get right to the good stuff that everybody wants to talk about. Tommy, let's start with your practice. So just tell us a little bit about your first practice and why you started a second practice, and then we'll talk about how to market it.
Yeah. So with mine, it was, I bought my practice in 2017, just been continuously growing. We had 7 ops, expanded to 12 ops about 4 years ago. We collected 6 million last year, getting 170 new patients a month. We're now booked out 6 months. So we are opening up a second location that's about 3 miles away. That's going to be 15 ops. But yeah, just crazy amount of growth. And we have most Google reviews in Cincinnati.
Let's
and
go.
That has been a big part of our growth, and lots of video testimonials. And so a lot of the listeners can sort of look and see some of that stuff that we're doing. But I know that there's some challenges when opening up a second location. And from an SEO standpoint, it's almost like a startup that you don't get to use all those Google reviews, or at least that's my understanding of it. And so I just wanted to see what your recommendations would be for someone in this situation, because I know there's a lot of people doing the same.
Are you doing 2 separate brands?
It'll still be the same name. So
okay, cool. So you're going to have one website. So the first thing, this is like hyper important, and I haven't looked at your stuff, so you may have already done this. The first thing, this is the biggest mistake that I see people make, is that you should have one homepage that is the brand homepage, and then you need to have 2 location pages, which are separate websites with all the information about each location. So it would look like this: abcdental.com, and it has all the information about the total brand. So think, it's kind of like Starbucks. When you go to Starbucks website, you go to the Starbucks homepage. But if you type in Starbucks near me, you're going to land on a separate page. Does that make sense so far? That's the first thing. So actually what you're going to do, if you set it up that way, so it should be abcdental.com/city name for the first location. And then same thing for the second location. So now you're going to have those 2 unique URLs. right? They're the same URL under the family, but they're unique to the locations. And you're going to use those for your SEO. And most marketing companies, especially people who don't understand dental, they'll just use your main website as your Google My Business listing. You don't want that. You want a full website that has homepage. It will have a home, about us, technology, meet the team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all built out on that second page. Does that make sense so far? Is that how you have it? Or do you have it all rolled?
They're just starting to build it out because it's opening up September. So we got everything ready to go. Would you, for like location wise for SEO purposes, would you name like, so it's Cedar Village Dentistry is the website. And would you do like Cedar Village Dentistry and then Mason, Ohio? So that way you're actually piggybacking off of the
What
location.
does Cedar Village mean? What does Cedar Village mean?
It just was the street name that it was on. But it's in Mason. But so like when you type in Mason Dentist, sometimes other people show up ahead of us because on the geo listing.
I don't think so. For me, like I'm not from your guys' area, so I'm not. So when I look at it, I just think Cedar Village is just a place. So the people who live 15 miles away, would they have any idea that Cedar Village is a street?
No idea.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so it's just a unique name. And I want you to think of it that way. Now, the people locally, they all know it's Cedar Village, and you guys all know, but no one else knows that. So that's good. So you're going to have cedarvillagedentistry.com. That's going to be your main website. And that's what you're going to put on your postcards. That's what you're going to put on your cool clothes. You're going to put it on your social media handles. You should only have one social media for all of this. You can do more, but it'll be double the work, right? You're going to have, if you do a billboard, it's going to have cedarvillagedentistry.com, all that kind of stuff. And then when you go to that page, it's going to be a page that looks like a full website. But the main thing on it is going to be select your locations. It's going to drive everybody back to select a location, and it's going to pull up two little maps, and then two locations on a map that people can go and choose from. So any traffic that ends up there from any other marketing that's non-digital for the most part or social media, it's all going to come back here. Then from there, the location, when they click on their location, this is going to be like its whole own website. But it's going to be on the same URL. It's going to be cedarvillagedentistry.com / maybe like locations / the city name you want to rank in. So if you want to rank in Mason, then it's going to be Mason / whatever. And then you want to do that for each of them. And then you take that longer URL with the city name, you're going to put that into the Google My Business and any other listings that you have for that local location. And the home page that doesn't have the unique city names, that's going to be used on all your external marketing. Again, letterhead, don't create like 2 letterheads, don't create all that kind of stuff. Like just do everything singular with just cedarvillagedentistry.com.
Cool.
Does that make sense so far? Now, here's the cool part. The people that live in the middle, so you're 15 minutes apart, right? But there's patients that live 7 minutes from Cedar, your first location, and there's people that live 7.5 minutes to the other location. Some of those people are going to want to go to that other location. And then there's new people that live right in the middle, and they're both going to want to choose. So here's the good news. They're going to see your SEO is going to kick in really quickly at the second location, like really quickly now, if you have somebody knows what they're doing and they set this up properly. And so what that means is that traffic's going to naturally pour over now to that second new location. So you shouldn't start at 0. You should start really, really quickly, start getting new patients. The other thing on the home page and on each of the location pages, I would just say #1 rated dentist on Google and put your total Google reviews and market it as a whole brand, not as a single location. So just talk about all the Google reviews that you have at your first location everywhere.
And would you do that on like your Google My Business profile for the new location too? And just like create a little post almost that says like most Google reviews in Cincinnati? Or
that might be jumping the shark a little bit just because it's like right next to all your Google reviews right there and you have 4, you know what I mean? So, but it's a good question though. So, but like on your website, all your assets, because here's the natural flow for every marketing patient and every patient referral is, let's say I tell my wife to go to your practice. Hey, you need to go check out Cedar Valley Dentistry. They're awesome. She Google search Cedar Valley Dentistry. They go to the website. The first thing they do is they go back out and look at their reviews. That's the first thing everybody does. So having the most reviews is actually one of the strongest things you can do for any of your marketing. You already know that because you're crushing it. And so what you need to do is just piggyback on your website, all your landing pages, everything like that needs to have like #1 rated dentist in, this area on both websites and then viciously attack your Google reviews at your new location. Like make it a game. A question to you. How did you get so many Google reviews so quickly at your first location?
I mean, when I bought it, we were at like 100. So it's just been a focus every single year.
How long did it take to get to 1900?
Yeah. I mean, it's been almost 10 years.
Okay. So here's my challenge to you. So I would say, I want you to get to 1,000 Google reviews over the next 2 years. 2 years, get to 1,000. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to find somebody at that new office and you're going to bonus them on a monthly basis to get to X amount of reviews. So this is how you do the math. How many total patients do you have walking through the door every single month? So like, what's your goal the first month of being open? How many patients come through the door?
I think honestly 70 would be good because we're trying to keep all of our old patients at the other one just because hiring hygienists and doing all this stuff is more challenging. So I'd be happy with 70 new patients a month at that location.
What's your marketing budget going to be?
Probably 10.
Okay. That sounds in the family. So about right. So you might need to spend a little bit more because of the new location, but somewhere $10,000 to $20,000, let's call it, for rounding purposes. So 70 new patients. So how many of those can you get to leave a good Google review? What percentage?
I would think at least 50, but 25.
Okay. So let's set 50 as a goal. So you're going to go to someone in your office, one person, and you're going to say, whoever's like, maybe they're checking out the patients or maybe it's the one hygienist, whoever's like the most bubbly and like hungry and just like a go-getter. And you're going to say, hey, I'm going to give you $5 for every Google review that you get this month or whatever, that you can make up a number, $3, whatever. And I'm going to give it to you but you have to hit this many. You have to get this many, and they will go figure out how to get that many that month. Whatever the 50 is great. The next month it's going to be bigger because you're going to have patients coming back. And then at the 6-month mark is where it's really going to kick in because you have all your recare patients coming back and you just have to aggressively just hit that the first year. You can get to 500 in the first year. No problem. Like definitely.
So do existing patients that already left a Google review at the one location, can they do at the new location too?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Absolutely. No rules against that.
Cool.
So that you can get those up and going really, really quickly. I'll leave a review for you too. You don't have to pay me.
Thanks, Kenny.
I'll say I did a podcast with you and you guys were awesome.
Yeah. What I was just going to say, what other things like hiccups or what are things people do wrong when they're trying to do this?
So there's this second to third practice that crushes people. And I've seen it. I would say it happens 80% of the time. And I've seen it all. Like when I got started in dentistry, I only worked with single locations. I was taught anybody who had locations were the devil, like in dentistry. That's when I got started in dental. Okay. And so I worked with all single locations. And then a couple of years later, they all started adding, all these people that told me that they all started adding second locations. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And again, about 80% of them really struggled. And here's what happened. The reason that your practice is so successful is because of you, Dr. Tommy. Like that's the honest truth. The reason my business is successful is because of me being, we have great teams. They're awesome, but we are go-getters. We are drivers. We are like aggressively always pushing to make sure things get better and better and better. And we care deeply. It hurts our soul when things don't go the way that we want, or if a client doesn't have a good experience or a patient doesn't have it hurts us deeply. And we put processes and systems in place to stop that from happening. However, you will not be at one of these two locations anymore. Like you can't be at both at the same time. I'll put it that way. And now maybe you say, okay, well, I'm going to split my schedule so that I'm always at one or the other. But that's why I said sometimes it's the third location it happens. You're going to need somebody to help you at this next location. And I just did a whole podcast on this actually with Dr. Blake. And he has a big practice just like yours. And he's talking about opening a second. And we walk through like the processes and those kind of things that we would want in place before opening the second. And one of them was he wants to take a leader with them that's trained on his culture, his processes, his SOP, all of it, with him to the new location without hurting the existing location. And the best way to do this for our audience, you may be too deep in the game to do this now, but the best way to do this for our audience is to, I learned this from Mark Costas, to redline your existing processes. So what it means is, if you can't step away from the office for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks without processes breaking, it means they're not really put together properly. It's like you're driving them. And same goes for your team. So you want your team to build processes, and then you want them to be able to leave the office for a couple weeks, and then you observe how those processes hold up under the weight of the practice. If they crumble, if your AR falls apart, if patients stop accepting treatment, if your hygiene schedule falls apart, that means the process is being glued by a who, not a how. And if that's the case, you will get crushed at your second location.
We have 2 partners already, so they're planning on going to the new location. So I'm hoping it's still not the same, but at the same time, they've been with me for a couple of years. So I'm hoping that it won't be as big of a drop off. But yeah, the worst thing you could do would be to hire a new associate and put them into that new location, because things will fall apart.
That's so smart, because if you own the business, you just care more, right? Even like you just care more. Like that's just the way that it goes. That's why DSOs, big DSOs, they don't work as well, because no one owns the business. It's like we've all been to Subway before, where the owner's not there and the teenager's back there and they're like high on drugs, and they're just like, you're trying to order a sandwich and you can't even communicate with them. And it's like, they don't care. And I'm not saying anybody out there, I know dentist offices aren't ran that way, but some DSOs, I've been into some of them are kind of ran like, does anybody here really care if I'm here? Like, you know what I mean?
I hope
and
so
not. Having those owners there is humongous.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's what drove my merger, right? Was I bought a second location. It was 2 years ago, and I've been running them independently, and I was not operating in that one and trying to develop that leadership. It was almost like building the plane while it was flying, right? And so I just said, hey, it's enough. Like, because no matter how much someone does care, you're 100% right. When you're the owner, it just hits different, right? And so I merged mine practices, back in January, and so kind of working through that now. But
yeah, the other thing, that's a great point. The other thing that I've seen happen is that we forget how hard it was at the beginning to grow the first practice or the first beginning of the business. So I'll use myself as an example. So early on, we worked with General Dentist. We crushed it. We were on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing company list 3 years in a row. We only worked with General Dentist. We were just like exploding. And then we're like, let's get into full arch. Let's do full arch. These guys pay way more money. The marketing budgets aren't 5,000, they're 20,000. And they make more money. Let's do it. And we built out a whole team. We built an event. We did the whole 9 yards. And you want to know what happened? We ended up getting into the weeds of figuring out that about 90% of general dentists that are trying to place full arch have nothing in place they're like barely clinically holding it together. They're stressed out now, right? They're flying in doctors from other states to finish their cases, losing money on the case. Their team doesn't know how to close the cases. Their team doesn't know how to follow up with the leads. Like nothing was in place with these practices that we worked with to be able to do the things that they needed to do. And we were like, this is not fun. Like we're failing more than we're winning. And I don't like that. So we had to slow down and back out of it. And so when you get to, there's a certain level of this that you get to that like operationally, it just becomes a way harder to spin. And that second or third practice will suck the first practice's profit. And it's way harder. Like when we removed the full arch services, I remember starting in general dentistry now, and it was really hard at the beginning, like figuring everything out. I'd rather just double down doing more of what we're already doing and doing it better. So I always tell people max out before you add. And I think you've done that, Dr. Tommy. Like you at 6 million, like you can do a little bit more, but like it's going to be hard to do more. But I would challenge you before you open up a third office, max out the second office again. So now you're doing $1 million between, not do, a lot of people do, I'm at $100,000 a month. Let's do a third office. Complexity doesn't scale. And dentistry is like very, very, and then the other thing is I saw this working in the DSO spaces where these offices, they would grow and they wouldn't put the infrastructure to manage the offices. Because what we don't realize a lot of times is we're doing dentistry, people are answering the phones, and we're kind of managing the office too. But when you have 4 or 5 offices, 3 offices, you have to have somebody sitting over the top of those acting as a leader full time. And most single practitioners just don't ever do that because they're like, why do I need that? I didn't do that at my first location, but now you need it at location 4 or 5. And so it sounds like you're doing all that correctly. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's all, you learn as you go. And the problems that you had when you were a small business, that stressed you out. And now it's like, well, that was Tuesday. And it's the same thing I'm sure you go through. But yeah, you definitely forget about the things that you had to do and how hard you had to grind when your feet were at the fire and doing that stuff. So
yeah, good job. So Dr. Alex, you're combining 2 offices right now. What's some of the good, the bad with that?
I mean, right now, I mean, the bad of it just tends to be, trying to merge cultures, right? Like that's the hard part, or some of the hard part, just getting to stable waters and what does a system look like with a team that's twice the size that it used to be, right? Which is why I haven't.
You brought over the whole team?
Yeah. I would just bam, right together, and so. Yeah, I mean, it certainly made sense for what was going on. It was better than the alternative for sure.
We did a podcast. I said, how many people did you fire?
Yeah. That's the first question. Like, there's a lot of redundancies in there.
Well, I mean, there was one office manager whose role dissolved, but then I tried to maintain as many of the staff as possible. I mean, obviously there's certain standards that are held at a second location. If you're not there as the owner, like we're talking about, that may not be what your standards are. And so that inherently breeds some attrition. And so still, I mean, we are losing team members and going through stuff that, is pretty run of the mill. I'm used to hiring at this point. I think what I'm really, where I'm kind of looking for future or future looking is how I want to manage marketing for this now, right? Like, and I have done some initial calls with SMC, and for me, it's not an if, it's a when's the right time to kind of turn on this marketing. And the other thing that I kind of, just to throw a little wrench in things, I tend to do a lot more kind of like complex care, full mouth rehabilitation type dentistry, right? But I'm trying to build out a general patient or general practice base at the same time. So how do you, aside from making sure there's a cohesive, like these practices have merged, marketing side of things, how do we then also at the same time kind of market towards those cases, but not detract away from the fact that it's a general dental practice and grow both, at the same time?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is like the age-old struggle, right? It's like, who do we focus on? And as a marketer myself of my own business, we struggle with this for years. We've nailed it down over the last couple of years, but we always struggled with, am I talking to the dentist who's in the chair, right? The Dr. Alex, or am I talking to the Dr. Tommy who's the CEO and doesn't practice anymore? Because those are different. They think totally different, right? Like they move, one has way more time, one has less. One's more data driven, one's more emotional driven, et cetera, et cetera. Or am I working with the marketing manager who has a marketing background who's managing these practices? Are we marketing to them? Or am I marketing to the marketing manager who happens to be the hygienist with no marketing background, but she likes playing on Instagram, so she's managing all the marketing? Those are the 4 avatar types. And so you can't have it all. Like I can't do all of those, because by doing one, I scare away the other. Does that make sense? So if I'm like doing TikTok dances, that's going to scare away the clinical doctor. Like, dude, this dude isn't serious. I'm not going to talk to him. Right. And vice versa. So if I'm too technical on the marketing side and attracting the marketing manager, and I'm like, here's your SERP rate and how to set up your Google ad campaign, that's going to scare away some other people. Right. So you have to pick one avatar and then go after them. So in your case, you're talking about complex cases. Is this like smile makeovers?
Yeah, I mean, aesthetic stuff, but also, I mean, it's all occlusion based principles and just making sure that full mouth reconstructions are planned from the right place. And it can be cases that are like as small as 16 grand, but up to like 50 grand,
so you're doing like full
higher.
arch and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
And
not full arch implant, but I'll do full arch implant stuff also. It's just not like something that like, that's not what I'm trying to market into. It's really kind of like, it would be like, is your mouth, like, are you a mouth dental train wreck, right? Like it's, people who are ready to invest and ready to get their confidence back and ready to get their life back. And whatever that happens to be, whether it's implants or crowns, like we'll know how to get you there and how to make it stable for a long time. I almost like wonder, like, do I have to, if I want to grow that side, do I have to market myself as an individual while I simultaneously market the practice to grow the practice?
You can, but I'll tell you the way I prefer to do it if I was a dentist and in your shoes, because you kind of have the best of all worlds. First, for the audience. To you. So first for the audience, I want to explain that in dental, there's two different business models that exist, and they can exist at the same time. And it's very important. Like most dentists it doesn't ever enter their brain. So there's the recurring business model, which means you have somebody who likes you and comes back to you over and over and over again and brings referrals. This is the general dentistry model. This is the model that everybody loves. Everybody, it withstands COVID. It withstands the 2008 recession. It withstands everything. Like it's the model of all models. It's the best of the best. No matter what, you have an active patient base coming in for hygiene. The patients already know they need their teeth clean. They're going to come in and you can kind of mop up with that. That's amazing. The other business model is the sales business model. And what that is that's your ortho, that's your aligner, if it falls under ortho, but then you have like your full arch, your cosmetic, all those kind of business models. Those are, as a standalone business model, you're only as good as what you sold last month, because those patients kind of disappear. And then it's like, okay, we're next month, we got to make new sales now. And those are two different business models. I call them this. One is the Netflix model and one's the Mercedes car lot model. The Mercedes car lot model, when the economy's good, everybody eats and the salespeople are happy. Everybody's happy. We go to war all of a sudden and gas goes up, something like that. All of a sudden it's like, oh, our numbers are all falling apart. No one cancels their Netflix, right? No one, it's just every month they're just paying it and they just keep going. So with that said, you have both of these models living simultaneously. So from a marketing perspective, I prefer to market for GP and maybe emergency too, if you want in there, and to drive people in as fast as possible. So meaning getting them in as the shortest amount of time possible to the place that they know they need. So hygiene is, I need my teeth clean. So you get them into hygiene. And have like a membership plan if they don't have insurance, like have everything thought of. No one slips through the cracks. And then on the emergency side, it's just like, hey, we can get you in today and take care of you. We know you don't have dental insurance. Let's just get you on a membership plan. You're good. You retain those patients. The reason I like marketing for that and then building an active patient base that's huge is you can pull all the treatment that you want to do from those patients by asking one simple question. And the question is, and it doesn't even have to be you that asks it. It can be other people on your team. Hey, tell me what you love about or tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how you rank your smile. Oh, I rank it like a 6. Oh, really? Why? Why so low? Oh, because, and they tell you what they're thinking. And then you go, oh, we got options for that. Would you like to know about those? Yeah, great. And you probably already do this kind of stuff. But for the audience out there, you can take the cost to acquire a hygiene patient is like $250 to $450, depending on your market, your Google reviews, all that kind of stuff. The cost to acquire a smile makeover is $1,000 to $2,000, maybe even more dollars. Okay, so which one would? And here's the other thing. That's even if they might not buy. A lot of those people don't come in and buy. They just come in and look. So I would rather get 4 to 8 hygiene patients in. How many hygiene patients do I need to see to find one smile makeover? You know what I mean? Like maybe it's 20, maybe it's 15, depending on your area, or that needs a lot of work. And so for me, I would rather get the small cost to acquire a patient, get them in my returning over and over and over again, get my team really good at asking the question, and then turn into a super GP on the back end where you just do whatever the patient needs and you have monthly payments and the whole 9 yards. That's how I would build it.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, that's kind of how we built it. I know me and Alex have talked about it, but more for the audience. Like we were just always, whenever we were getting to capacity, we could always get someone within 2 weeks. We had scheduled blocks for new patients. And then we also, emergencies, same thing. We have blocks in place so that way you could always do it. And then you have your ceilings. You have, once you get to 1.3 to 1.5, yes, you can keep going, but you can't break through that ceiling too much more. You're starting to run into and so that's when you need to start having another doctor, start expanding hours, start being able to do some of this other stuff. And that's like, we're at the pace, we're basically adding a doctor every year now with just how much demand. And then again, now we're running into the issue of we build out 12 ops, have nowhere else to put people. And so that's why we had to do a second location. So that way we can keep going with this model. But yeah, I agree. I mean, we do a little bit of the all on X, and we're marketing with Progressive and doing that. I know you probably didn't want to hear me say that, but it's way. I mean, we're not even really closing many on those. I'm doing basically one a week, but it is. Those are almost all internal from our 170 new patients. And so
exactly,
it's not,
if you're seeing 170 new patients, how many of them need a boatload of work? It's a good percentage of them. And then a fraction of them are going to buy. So now you're doing, so and the other side of the business model that a lot of people miss is that you can now hire a younger dentist when you have that many new patients, and you say, you're just doing all the fillings and the crown, you get all of that. And then when you get these and you see these kinds of patients, those come to me, and that's the deal that you make out. You know what I mean? Is that what you did, Dr. Tommy?
I mean, I gave up fillings, but we're more super GP. All of us do IV sedation, which is huge. So it tracks all of these patients that are scared to death anyway. And then you're doing IV, and then you're doing all the crowns and stuff like that. So that's one of our requirements for our doctors. But I feel like any doctor
do you know Dr. Scott Sayer?
Yeah, he's right. I
love Dr. Scott. I've known Dr. Scott for I broke into dental marketing. He was one of the guys that he put in a good word for me with some docs and stuff. And I know his marketing department, I've worked with his marketing department and stuff. They just so everybody knows, the rest of the audience, they won't know him, but outside of Cincinnati, but I think he does 1.1 million a month, I think, at their office. And then they have a couple other offices. They're crazy.
Yeah. He's been growing, expanding lots of offices. And then he helps me too, because he markets on the radio. I always hear him, and then we do IV, so they come to us too. So it's a good thing.
He's making everybody aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the awareness.
They're huge. That's awesome. He's a great guy too. He was if I remember correctly, he was in the Air Force, and he became what's it called not optometrist. I know all the dentists are going to make fun of me now. What is it called when you have the guy come in and do the IV sedation?
The anesthesiologist.
He was that, and then he became a dentist.
Yeah.
And so now he does all the treatment for handicap sedate, very risky stuff that most dentists don't want to touch. You know what I mean? He has a full surgical setup, and he's walked me through some of the stuff that they do. It's really amazing. He's a really solid guy too.
Yeah, and he does a pretty similar model. I mean, similar thing where all of dentists have to get trained in IV. And it's like I said, I think that you become a super GP. I have a model, and it works, and I can guarantee that it's going to be. And you do basically insurances. You just need to get on Zealous and Connection, and then you don't need to be in network directly, and you're getting all these high fees. You're getting $1,250 for a crown, and you're getting tons and tons of patients, and you don't have to do all this crazy stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, I feel like any doctor that comes into my network, I can grow them and make them successful. And it's I feel like we have a game plan that you could do this anywhere in America and be successful as well.
That's cool. That's great. And there is a moat around that business model that most people don't realize, because I talk to dentists all the time. They hit the ceiling, and they're like, what else can I do to grow? I'm like, I had IV. Most doctors are like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to add that, which then creates a market all of your own. You might have a Dr. Scott Sayer in your market or a couple others, but to your point, there's plenty to go around. And, but normally, remember when aligners came out, everybody jumped on that train right away, and then implants, and everybody jumped on that train. I feel like IV sedation kind of keeps a certain supply and demand in check, because most dentists aren't willing to add that.
Yeah, no, it's a huge part of the practice. So you talked about the second funnel of sales. At what point are you building out landing pages specifically for those procedures like all on X or implants or clear aligners, or do you not recommend that at all?
Yeah, no, definitely build all those out. So you want in your Google My Business, the main homepage, and then you want your call to actions and your landing pages all built out for all of those things. And whatever do you guys do a free consultation for like aligners or IV sedation, or how do you do it?
I don't love free. I know
Or
marketing people always try to get me to do
Sure,
free,
no,
but
it's
I was
fine.
like,
What do you do?
I mean, we just have everything is offered, but I know like once you get into all on X, I just didn't know if you needed like a separate landing page specifically for.
If I called your office, if I said, hey, I want to come in for all on X or aligners, what would your front desk say?
We have like a consult, and so we have Smile Virtual as well. But we normally try and bring people into hygiene. But for those ones like all in X, like we do have that sales funnel, and then they actually come into the consultation. But we charge a fee for the CT and everything just to try and keep away the price shoppers. Because those people leave you bad reviews, even though because they can't afford it. You're like, I didn't even meet you.
Yeah. So how much is it?
$199.
Okay. Got it. I mean, I know you don't want to hear this, but at your new location, it's going to be harder because you don't have the thing that you have going for you is you have Google reviews going for you. So it's like people will trust you, but having no Google reviews up front, that's just a lever that you have that you can say, hey, for a limited time, we're doing this free thing, build your new patients up and then take it away. But I find that, but you may not want those people. See, hygiene, I prefer to drive in through hygiene too. Like I would rather drive in paying at hygiene. Hey, you need your teeth cleaned anyways, right? Let's get your teeth cleaned and get you in, and it's X amount of dollars, and everybody understands that. And then you see if they're a candidate. And if they're not a candidate, you have all these other options now. But if you're just bringing them in for full arch, you have one option, and it's really hard to pivot from there. And it's more expensive for the patient too, with no guarantee outcome, which that's the rub that patients have. So that's really, really good. So landing pages, definitely, if you want to attract that. Now, if you're running your business model though, I probably would just market more hygiene. Like I would just, because here's the thing with patients don't understand. It's like when you have a mechanical problem on your car, you type in mechanic. You're not thinking like, oh, I need a muffler mechanic, or I need a transmission mechanic, or you don't think any of that. You're just like, I just need a mechanic. And you're the mechanic that does everything, right? For dentistry. So every patient knows that they need a cleaning, just like every person knows they need an oil change, except for Tesla owners. And so then you just need to just get them in on the oil change, and then you get whatever else from there. That's how I think about it. So you want to be careful though, because if you beef up too much landing pages on all the other stuff, you actually start to lose families. So like if my wife is going to a landing page or a website, and on the front of that website, it's like full arch, aligners, braces, all the veneers. And she's like, I just want to take my 14-year-old to the dentist for a cleaning. She's probably not choosing that place because she's like, it's not really the right fit. So there is a give and take with that you have to be careful of.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
I would stick with your model. Drive them in through cleaning, figure it out from there.
I'm getting too many shiny toys that I'm going after right now. So
keep your cost to acquire a customer as low as possible by driving through hygiene, and then train your team to do an amazing job to find all that treatment. That's how I would that's what I would recommend for you, Dr. Alex. Like copy paste that model.
Yeah, it just seems like like that maybe on that base level, like I said, just like more modernized ways of marketing. But when it comes to our specialized stuff, just trying to keep it word of mouth, natural, passive kind of growth of that side of the business versus a full tilt push on it, because it's just going to be that much more expensive.
Yeah. And then Gary, another question for you. So tracking ROI on marketing and stuff like that. So say we're paying these all in X people all this money, and say, yes, the number is going up, but their actual funnels and stuff like that aren't like, they have their marketing funnels and they track actual patients. But like we're turning all of our internal cases in. How do you know if it's actually that's driving some of that? If that makes sense.
We use trackable.io, which is a CRM. Most dentists don't know what a CRM is, but like every business in the world uses a CRM except for general dentists. You guys are shaking your head, so you guys have heard of it before. But most dentists, when I say CRM, they're like, "What is that?" So it's
relationship management.
It's something. Yeah, it's a relationship management that sits on top of your PMS. Because here's how PMSs are not CRMs, because if the patient no-shows, they disappear. And we have no idea why they disappeared. So most offices' CRMs are managed from email, from text messages, from the email, voicemail, whatever, right? All these different, and they're all over the place. And it's like, I hope my team followed up with them. That's most, I would say the majority of dental offices. So the CRM actually organizes every single contact, and then it tracks it from end to end. So you can actually see the ROI all the way to the end. And I have special pricing on that. So if anybody wants to check that out, it integrates with your PMS. It also has an AI model that listens to every phone call. So that way, if something did come through the marketing phone number, but the patient said, "Oh, I was referred by so-and-so," it will actually pull as referral, not as marketing. So it's really cool. And then we have also an AI agent that sits on top of it that can answer phone calls better than humans and schedule them. So if you miss a call, then the AI agent picks up. If it's after hours, the AI agent picks up. So it actually helps your ROI go up, because now you're getting an extra 5 to 10 new patients a month, and it's doing the work for you when you're not available to do it. So that I would do that first. The other thing you can do, if you go, "Gary, that's cute, I don't have time for that." The other option is the easy option, the old school option is double your marketing budget or cut your marketing budget in half. One of those two. So let's say you're spending $10,000 a month on marketing, double it, go to 20. And people are like, "Oh, why should I do that?" See if your new patients shoot up through the roof. If they don't, that tells you that something is broken. And if you go, "I don't want," and sometimes that's the best way to do it, because you will know right away if your marketing is actually doing something or not. The other option is to cut it in half. So if you have 10,000, cut it down to 5,000. The problem with that is that it's a little bit harder to tell if something broke or not, because the new patients are lagging. So you might have to cut it for 2 months, right? Because the average time to get into a dental office is about 30 days. So you might not feel the cut. If it's May, when you cut May 1st, you might not feel it till July. You know what I mean? So that can get really tricky. So I just warn everybody that. But the cleanest way to do it is just increase it, because you will feel it right away of those patients calling, wanting to come in, et cetera, et cetera. That's the quickest way to figure that out. And then if it doesn't do anything, then it's like, hey, let's suspend it for a while, give it 2 or 3 months, and then let's go back to the drawing board. What if we took that $10,000 for full arch, and what if we incentivized our team and used it to train our team to find more full arch cases from the 170 new patients that we already have?
Yeah. Now, that's the struggle, is like we've done mailers or stuff like that. And you're always like, well, we're getting more new patients, but is it, and they never say they got it from the mailer. They say they just call. And, so it's like always difficult to actually track. You just sort of feel this volume increase, but it's always like, well, if we cut it, I don't want to cut it and us lose all this momentum that we're already building. So
100%. I'm with you. Yeah. No, you guys are crushing it. I should have interviewed you guys and asked you how to market an office. So that you guys are, you guys set me up, man.
No,
you guys are already crushing it. You're like, "Oh yeah, we're already crushing it." So that's awesome. You guys are doing a great job.
Cool. I don't have anything else. Alex, you got other questions that you wanted to pop on?
I mean, I just, the only other thing that I guess I got a question about, I'm writing dental softwares also. And so I didn't know if this trackable.io thing was, from a CRM standpoint, if it would be as applicable, or if that's mainly clinical side for you.
What do you mean by that? It was, I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, I mean,
at
a certain point in time, like as I'm getting leads for these softwares, it's more like a SaaS style.
You're building a SaaS
thing.
product. No, it's only clinical. So we use for like a B2B company, we use HubSpot. We used to use Salesforce. A lot of people in dental and in other places, like when they're getting started, Go High Level is very reasonable. Those are all great CRMs to use.
Got it. And then with Trackable, is that something on the SMC side of things? Is that like for most market, is that a level of a package, or is that something that you're using on majority of clients?
So
or?
yeah, it's pretty cool. So we built SMC, and we were like, hey, we need to be able to track this stuff. And there was no options for it at the time. And so we built out like a dashboard. My business partner, his name's Ryan, and he's really smart. And so he was like, hey, I'm going to build this. And we built it. And then we were like, oh, it needs to be a CRM for this to really work. And so we're like, let's build a CRM. So after millions of dollars and tons of work, and then finding out dentists don't even know what a CRM is, and nor do they want one. We had this product that there was people using. All of our clients use it. We use it. We love it. It makes us very effective. But then it's a total standalone company. He runs the company. It's totally separate, its own revenue, own clients list, and all that kind of stuff. We just, SMC now is a client to them. And then perfect timing, AI came out. So AI can't operate very well without a CRM, because if an AI is just answering the call and all it's doing is just like throwing it on the calendar, that's just basically, it lives and dies by the PMS, and the PMS breaks all the time, right? Because people delete things, people move things. This is why online schedulers break all the time, is because they're reliant on the PMS. It's not that the online schedulers are bad, it's that the PMSs are being controlled by hygienists, dental assistants, front desk, doctors, and people are just moving, breaking things around, and it just breaks the software. So what we did is we said, okay, we now know the whole patient journey. So we can see when the patient clicks, when they go to the website, when they called, the team member, their conversion, who answered the phone, when the patient scheduled, did they show up, how much treatment they bought, how much treatment they bought on the second, how much they scheduled out into the future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we can actually track lifetime, like real lifetime value. The AI agent can use all of that. So right now, what it's doing is it sits on top of the CRM and it goes, okay, right now, job number one is just to schedule the patient. But this year, we're going to be doing outbound text from the AI agent. So when the patient, let's say the patient schedules a hygiene appointment, and 2 weeks before, we're going to text them from the AI agent, hey, this is Susie from the office. Just wanted to check in and make sure that you are going to come on this date. If we don't hear back from you by this date, then we're going to remove the appointment. If it doesn't hear back 72 hours before, it'll begin to find new patients or other recare patients or unscheduled treatment and start to slot them in to the schedule. And the best part about that is no one will know it's AI. The patient will know it's AI because it's texting them, and the office won't even have to do anything. So it's going to take care of your recare. It's going to take care of your appointment confirmation, your unscheduled treatment, and it's going to proactively fill the schedule. And it can only do that if you have a CRM to be able to tell where it's pulling from. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it almost eliminates a front desk position, right? Or needing to hire, one. I mean, like, you still need front desk people, but...
Well, let's be honest. The front desk people don't want to do any of this stuff. Everybody's trying to get their teams to do all that stuff, but it's really hard, that's the last thing that they end up doing.
Right. Oh, yeah. And the follow-up side of things is always atrocious. So it's the first thing to go, right?
It is. Yeah. It's the first. If you say, hey, I need you to do this, it's like, well, I needed to clean the bathroom first, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, there's so many other things that they would rather do than sit down and
count paper
call
clips,
100
right?
people. Yeah, exactly. So that's the goal, is to have that completely built out this year, 2026. So we launched the agent. The agent actually schedules new patients. It's floating between 70 and 80%, which the average human is about 50%. A well-trained human is usually between like around 70% to 80%. So it's right in there with like a really well-trained human.
And then I'm assuming there's some built-in reporting at the end of the month with everything and all that stuff too.
It's live. Yeah. So it's actually, you see how many calls it took, and then you see if they scheduled, and then you see if they
like
came
a dashboard.
in. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
It's $299 a month, no contract. It just will catch every missed call and every after-hour call, and it will capture it. And if it's a new patient, it'll schedule them. If it's an existing patient, then it just says, okay, let us take down your information. We'll have the office call you back when they're available.
Well, I think you might have a new client here.
You should try it. What PMS do you guys use?
We just switched over to Open Dental today.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, beautiful. Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, this was actually just a sales demo for me to sell you guys that. So that worked out great.
Yeah, I'll be looking for my check in the mail, Gary.
Yeah, that's so awesome. This turned out really good. You guys feel good about this? Everything good on it? Do you guys want to tell I think you guys are going to post this on your channel, and I would love to post this on mine. You want to tell everybody about your podcast and what you guys do on there?
Yeah. So we have the Elite Dental Podcast. We created it about 2 or 3 years ago. It's kind of been a hobby, but just
2022, 2023,
talking about just our experiences, sort of telling the stories about our growth and all the random stuff that happens or the struggles of dentistry. So we're sort of just, like you said, living the dream, but also the nightmares that go along with it. And so that's a lot of it, is just telling stories, telling stuff that works. We also have a couple classes. If anyone is getting into All-in-X, we have All-in-X Design with Exocad, PRF and PRP, socket preservation, and then digital All-in-X. And if someone wants to figure out how to 3D print temps and stain and glaze it and do all that. So I have those courses on there. I think we have a promo code too. Wasn't really the main reason for the podcast.
We'll put it down. We'll put it all down in the link. So just say it, and then we'll include it down below.
Bird is the promo code, so you get 20% off for that. So, but yeah. Anything else to add, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably end up putting a photography training on there pretty soon as well. I'll be lecturing for Dawson Academy on that, and
for clinical photography.
Clinical photography. Yeah. So I'm teaching a lecture in July, but I think part of practicing for that is going to be just kind of end up into like a pod style, like short 5-minute, 10-minute block, videos on each of these kind of aspects of different parts of clinical photography, from lighting to camera bodies and stuff like that. So that'll end up getting on there, as well as other really software stuff that I'm writing. So
that works so well to help patients, because I'm going to speak as a patient now. Is I go in and the doctor goes, "Here's your X-ray. See that little dot up there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a this or that." Thing? And I'm just like,
I get patients that are like, "Those look like toes." I'm like, "Those look like teeth." This does not look like toes.
I have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm just, when you go to a foreign country and you walk up and you start speaking English and they don't speak English and they go like this, that's the universal nod of, I have no idea what you're saying. Patients do the same thing. So we go like this. But when you show a picture, it's like, oh, yikes. Okay, yeah, we got to get that taken care of.
Pictures are everything.
Is that the same? Is that the same code? The same discount code?
For my course? Or I gotta build it and put it on there first, but it'll get done.
We just have the 3 so far, but yeah, we're growing, we're building. We're trying to get this podcast. We're trying to take it more serious. So we'll be putting a lot more content and trying to get awesome people on, like you, Gary.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. That was great.